welcome to our end of the year episode. I tried to start this one differently than all the other episodes we've done this year and all the ones and the last episode we did last year, and I'm already stuttering over myself. So we're off to a great start, but we are doing what we promised at the end of last week's episode, plus a little bit more. We're counting down our favorite movies of 2022 as we count down to 2023. We've got a few other surprises in here for you. We're going to be going in the order that you see us on the screen through each of our different segments of the episode. So just as an overarching thing, we're going to start with the 2 or 3 roughly movies that we wish we had gotten to this year, couldn't see them. Then we're going to each mention our worst picture, because if we're going to talk about our favorites, we're going to mention the worst ones. It's our own version of the Razzies. We'll talk about a few honorable mentions. We will count down from 5 to 1 our favorite movies of the year. And then maybe we might look ahead to 2023, see what's in store for us. So we're going to go in the order that you see. As I said, Declan, Max, Ben, and then myself. Let's start with the movies that we missed. Declan, 2 or 3, what do you got?
First one that I haven't seen yet that I want to is Tar, or however it's properly pronounced. But yeah, Tar looked great. Haven't seen it yet. Want to. Second one is 3,000 Years of Longing. George Miller. I regret not seeing it in theaters, but just didn't want to. The third one is sort of like asterisks, kind of. The third one's Babylon. Like, I haven't seen it yet. I'm probably going to see it very shortly, but at this moment in time, I haven't seen it, so it's technically a film I missed. But really, it's Tar and 3,000 Years of Longing. Those are my real, two.
Cool. Yeah, Babylon, I saw it earlier this week. We're doing it next week. I'm really excited.
Yeah, so I would hope that you would see it very soon, Declan.
Exactly.
Hopefully he gets around.
He's
gonna
this
see
moment in time, yeah.
He's gonna see it.
Stay tuned for next week when we come back and say that Declan has not, in fact, seen Babylon.
I'm going to see Babylon.
Hey.
No, I'm all kidding. So my I have got 3 as well. My number, well, not in really any particular order, just 3 that I listed down in. The Whale. I think it looks like a really interesting film with Brendan Fraser. From what I've read, it might not be, a fantastic film, but that he delivers a really poignant performance. And so, I'm all in it for that. And obviously love Brendan Fraser, and knowing sort of what he went through over the past couple of years, and not feeling like he's welcome in Hollywood, and feeling like he's been blackballed for a variety of reasons. It's great to see him back out there and seeing some interviews where he is just an absolute gem of a human being, and everyone wanting the best for him. So it's great. Number 2, Empire of Light. I love Sam Mendes. I mean, I think he did a really great job with Skyfall. I actually watched a Shakespeare adaptation that he did with Tom Hiddleston. That was fantastic. It was Henry IV. And, that cast that he's assembled with Empire of Light looks absolutely stunning. And, it's the other film that is kind of a tribute to Hollywood that is out there right now. Maybe not getting as much buzz as Babylon, but
I don't think Babylon's getting much buzz, pal.
It's definitely the bigger name one, I would say.
Sure.
You're right. It might not be getting that much buzz either, but it's definitely the one that probably people would probably recognize more rather than Empire of Light. And then my third, again, like Declan, I've got an asterisk. Avatar. We're going to be doing that in a couple of weeks, but just haven't gotten a chance to see that one yet.
These are some good lists so far, boys.
Yeah.
Well done.
I think I'll probably just retread a bunch of that, but Tar, like Declan said, I haven't gotten to see it yet. I could have seen it, but I haven't yet. Fablements and Avatar, which I was supposed to see, but I have not yet.
Cool. Yeah, I'm a little surprised that of the three that I have here, only one of them has been mentioned so far. I chose not to include Avatar: The Way of Water on this list because one, I know we're going to see it in a couple, or we're going to talk about it in a
Yeah.
couple weeks, but also I saw the first one and I'm not really that eager about it right now. So I'm okay having missed it this year. But anyway, the three, these are again in no order, but one of them Max mentioned, The Whale. Brendan Fraser is, you know, probably the odds-on betting favorite for Best Actor at the Oscars this year. He's got a Globe nomination.
I don't know about a favorite. I mean, he'll get a nomination.
Austin Butler's going to be up there too, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll do our Oscars prediction episode in a couple months.
Surprise.
Another couple of movies that I did not get to this year that I'm kind of surprised that I didn't, considering they're available on streaming services. Weird, the Al Yankovic story. I don't know. Daniel Radcliffe looked like he had a lot of fun with that one. And it just, it's supposed to be like a parody or a satire on biopics. And yet it was also supposed to be a totally legitimate biopic of someone who's still very much alive and performing. So I don't know. That one looked fun. I haven't seen it yet. And the other one, because I was surprised when I looked at his Letterboxd page and saw that I haven't seen any of his movies ever. Michael Bay's Ambulance.
Oh wow!
I've never seen a Michael Bay movie.
Never seen a Michael Bay.
You've never
movie?
seen Transformers?
I've never seen Transformers. That's
Dude, honestly, they're probably worse movies, but I feel like you need to watch Transformers first.
I'm going to, Ben.
They're really okay. They're not great movies, but they're entertaining.
They're not great. They're not bad.
I feel like it makes you feel any better.
Up.
I have done the Transformers ride at Universal.
Okay.
No, that doesn't make me feel better. The Transformers movies are basically just Shia LaBeouf and then slow-mo shots of Megan Fox wearing really, really short shorts for like really extended periods of time where it's like, all right, like cool.
And Michael Bay.
I want to look at the robots.
Michael Bay doesn't. All right, so those are my three: The Whale, Weird, and Ambulance. I mean, Ambulance looked fun just because it was an action thriller. I love Jake Gyllenhaal. I love Yahya Abdul-Mateen. Mm-hmm. So I thought that one. I thought that the runtime looked a little long. It was like 220. So I was like, what are you going to do for 220 in an ambulance heist? But it's a heist movie. I'm going to love it.
A combo between Ambulance and Nightcrawler.
I'll start working on the treatment right now.
It doesn't look that inaccurate from the trailers.
So that's what we missed this year. Let's go to Worst Picture. Round it again, Declan.
You know, it was a little bit of a tough one, but I ultimately decided to go with the one that disappointed me the absolute most.
That's a good strategy.
There's films worse, but I'm actually going with the film that I wasn't on the episode for, but then saw later. I hate that I have to say this, but I honestly kind of felt like Lightyear has to be my worst of the year. It just I felt so disappointed.
Wow!
I felt like it had such great
Lightyear.
Wow!
I didn't think it was that.
Holy shit!
No, okay. The worst.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I mean,
no, he's saying Lightyear.
No, please.
I felt like a Buzz Lightyear movie had such great potential, but like they didn't give Buzz an arc. All the other characters were annoying. I hated the twist they did. Like I thought it was like
the twist was really bad.
And also the retroactive explanation for a certain character's name. It's just like, are you kidding me? There's a movie that I would have gone with. I was doing like pure worse, but I was let down by Lightyear. You know, it should have been great, and the fact that it wasn't, with all the great cast they had, it should have been a great film, and they. Again, I mean, like, Worst is strong, but definitely most disappointing for me.
Okay.
Fair. Wow, what a rip roaring start to this section, to this segment of our episode. That was awesome. Okay. I had no idea where you were going after you said, I thought you were gonna say "Don't worry, darling," and then you said I wasn't on the episode for that, and it was like, all right, I'm lost.
From that point, I thought you were gonna say Amsterdam.
Oh wow, really?
Because I know you just watched it, and I know that a lot of people didn't like it. I enjoyed it.
I liked it a lot, honestly. Yeah. But
well, I'm gonna go all the way to I think a little bit of a safer choice. It's got to be Blonde for me. I know we ripped that one apart altogether on the episode, and just not really that I had expectations of it being good, but it kind of didn't even come up to the very base level of like it being a real movie or a real story. We talked at length about how exploitative the film was, how it really just hammered home how miserable Marilyn Monroe's life was without any semblance of nuance to that. Like we all know that she was mistreated, and you can portray that on screen in ways that this film did, but you also need to recognize the fact that she's a real person. Like there are going to be ups and downs. The downs definitely outweigh and outnumber the highs and the highs, but it was just not a well-made story. And so it's got to be the worst film for me.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I would love to, say "Don't Worry, Darling" or Amsterdam, because those movies pissed me off, Blonde is definitely the worst. For a lot of the reasons that Max said, it's like they took Marilyn Monroe and her legacy, but mainly just her spirit, and put it in a box, and then like twisted the box, stamped on it, and lit it on fire. And took the ashes of that, and shot it into space with TNT. Something like that is probably an accurate description for what they did in that movie, which is just like, I can understand a biopic. Biopics are not my favorite by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, they often do Hollywood stuff or just like change things to make it more dramatic, but this is off the rails in that it's mostly fictional. Obviously, you include some real moments from her life, which you should because she's a real person, but yeah, it's just disrespectful. And apart from that, it's just a bad movie. I mean, like Max said, there's no direction to it at all. There's some weird themes about like daddy issues and stuff, but it's mainly just a film that wants to watch a woman suffer and thinks that's her legacy or something. I don't know. It's a bad movie. Bad taste.
Yeah, I thought long and hard about giving this honor to Blonde, but I'm not going to. I thought about giving it to Morbius. I thought about giving it to Home Team.
Morbius is too easy.
No, but Morbius is funny.
Yeah, Morbius is
some redeeming qualities. It's a meme ability.
My worst picture is a movie we did not talk about this year. It was one of the first movies. It might have been the first 2022 release that I watched this year, way back in January. And I'm going sort of in the direction that Declan did, with really just disappointing and then also a really bad movie. The Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild. So a little bit of backstory. 2009.
High expectations.
2000. Hold please, Ben. 2009. I saw the third Ice Age movie, Dawn of the Dinosaurs, and just fell in love with the character of Buck. Simon Pegg gives an awesome performance, vocal performance. So I had reason to be excited for this movie. And then I watched it. And there's a reason why Simon Pegg was the only returning voice actor from the entire franchise. It ignores the events of 2 of the 5 movies. The animation looks like a second to last rendering of what the actual Ice Age animation should be. The plot doesn't make any goddamn sense. And it's atrocious.
Did you find it scientifically inaccurate?
I did. It was inaccurate to my experience in the Ice Age.
Mhm.
That's
How
reason.
extensive is that experience, George?
Some I've seen all 5 movies.
Okay.
6
All right.
now.
Hmm.
Yeah. Blonde again, it was really just between that and between Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild and Blonde. Blonde, at the
That's
very
so funny.
least, had Ana de Armas's heart behind it.
Yeah.
She was trying to give a good performance.
Mhm.
She was trying to give a good performance. She's got the Globe nomination, which surprised me.
A miracle.
But yeah,
I think that is just a testament to that she actually was legitimately very, very good,
Yeah.
despite the
in
fact
a
that what she was
terribly
given
written role.
was
Yeah.
was absolute dog shit.
And I don't think I would have guessed that Blonde would have been not my worst movie when I saw it, but then I looked at my reviews and my
You had some PSP
comparison.
flashbacks.
What did I have?
You had flashbacks of Ice Age.
Yeah.
I have to mention it just because, like, just for the record, the film I was between before ultimately decided to go with Lightyear for disappointment. The other one I was going with was Jurassic World Dominion. I just wanted to like mention that.
See, that's also a good pick though.
Yeah,
too.
I thought that movie really sucked, and what infuriated me
Locusts.
Yeah, exactly. Just Locust.
what infuriated me
Bro,
most
what?
was that movie made $1 billion.
Need $1 billion.
It made $1 billion.
$1 billion.
Oh my god! Are you kidding me?
Like,
It's
what
one
the
of
hell?
3 movies to make $1 billion this year: Avatar: The Way of Water, Top Gun: Maverick, and Jurassic World Dominion.
What
Wait,
the
Way of Water's already made $1 billion.
Worldwide.
Yeah,
Oh,
Still
still,
made $1 billion.
it was like $1 billion domestic.
it came out like yesterday.
So we're 15 minutes into the episode or so. We've talked about movies we missed. We've talked about our worst picture of the year. Now let's get into why you're actually watching us, why we're actually here tonight. Honorable mentions and then our top 5s counting backwards. So Declan, honorable mentions, let's hear them.
Honorable mentions, my 2 are going to be The Batman and Violent Night. Love both films. The Batman I loved, so it's great. I just love a couple more movies more. And Violent Night was way better than I expected it to be. Love them. Gonna go with those 2.
Short and sweet. I like it.
I've got 3 actually, and I'll put them in order. I'm gonna go 3 to 1. Number 3 is Bullet Train. I thought it was really entertaining. I had a really great time in the theater. It's definitely a film that if you're seeing it for the first time, you want to see it on the big screen or at least on the biggest screen available to you. So if you can avoid watching it on your computer, then I would do that. It's just a lot of fun. I thought the cast was fantastic. You got a lot of big names in there, but they mesh well. And it feels overcrowded, but not to a sense where it's like, I don't like this movie because it feels overwhelming. It feels like it should be what it is. Number 2 is Top Gun Maverick. I mean, it's a great film. It's a lot of fun. And I mean, maybe it's not, super poignant or impactful. It's not going to change the world or anything, but it is a really good sequel. And I think it is better than the original Top Gun. And then my number 1 honorable mention is Violent Night. I mean, out of the viewing experiences in theaters that I've had this year, that would have been up there in terms of my time in the theater. I mean, everybody was laughing out loud. There was a group of like idiot, teenage guys behind me that were like talking throughout the movie, and normally that would ruin an experience, but I think that was it. it's a testament to how fun this film was that
That ruined
it
my
didn't.
experience with Uncharted. Just looking back on the year.
That's fair. I mean, yeah, I mean, don't talk during movies, guys. Come on. But I think Violent Night actually sort of pushed through that and did a good job. It was really, really fun. So there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll probably go with the Batman. I like that movie a lot. Um, Comparable weight of massive talent. It's great. And then Top Gun. They're all solid flicks. More on the action-oriented side.
Mhm.
So it's tougher to break into at least my top five because I'm a pretty high.
Because your opinions are better than all of
Yeah,
ours.
Ben is highbrow cinema, and the rest of us are just, hey, we like movies.
Hey, I'm a wannabe, like on what Ben's on. I'm very
Declan-
much a wannabe. I'm not, but I wannabe.
Declan did spoil for us his number one movie already. It's so we all know that it's
We all know what it's going to be.
Minions.
It's not going to go the way you think it's going to go.
We know what it is.
It's Minions: The Rise of Gru, right?
Yeah.
Obviously. I
mean, he's only said it about 10 times in the last like 2 days. So how could you forget?
I think, they're all great films. And honestly, they probably could have hit my top five in another year when some of these other films can come out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you, Ben, on my honorable mentions sneaking into my top five. I really thought at different points, especially this fall and into now the winter, that at least my top two, and I'm going to do what Max did and rank my honorable mentions, but I really thought my top two honorable mentions were going to end up in my top five, and then they didn't. Just when I was going back through the entire year and looking what we had. So my number three honorable mention is going to be Top Gun Maverick. I'm just thinking back to my theatrical experience. I saw it in IMAX in a packed theater. It was electric. It's so much better than the first Top Gun movie.
It is.
The action is there, the heart is there. It's a character-driven narrative. The visuals are absolutely stunning, especially on the biggest screen possible that I've seen movies on. It's an absolute winner, and I'm excited to see it again, which I think is the hallmark of a good movie. My second honorable mention is going to be Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I really thought it would crack my top five. I wanted it to, but ultimately, I enjoyed at this point 6 films this year more than that one. I think it's one of the best films of the year, like Top Gun Maverick. I think it's one of the best films of the year. I don't think that carries over entirely to my favorites, and that's really how I go about doing these. We'll talk about what's going to be the best picture of the year when we do our Oscars episode, but Wakanda Forever, it's a gorgeous film. Again, the cast and crew did what they had to do given the unfortunate circumstance. But it's up there in the top tier of the MCU. So this isn't a detriment to Wakanda Forever. It just didn't crack my top 5 this year. And then my top honorable mention is The Menu. Horror comedy is a genre I'm sort of excited to explore a little bit more. I haven't done it that much, but The Menu sort of got me excited about it. I was entirely alone in the theater when I saw the movie, so that sort of enhanced the experience for me. Small theater, sort of intimate, middle seated, just taking it all in. Ralph Fiennes is fantastic. Anya Taylor-Joy is fantastic. The story is really, really cool. And it's on HBO Max starting like next week. So, like I said, for Top Gun Maverick and for Wakanda Forever, mark of a good movie. I'm really excited to see it again. So now, drum roll, please. We are into our top 5s of 2022. Perfectly enough that we're probably about 22 minutes into the episode right now. So we're going to go around each one saying our number 5, Then we're going to go around, each one of us saying our number 4, so on and so forth, and then we'll get to our number 1s. Yeah, I don't really have any more setup than that. Declan,
Cool.
what is your number 5 movie of 2022?
Sorry, lost my train of thought there for a second. Number 5 was a real came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting it to be here. I think my number 5 is Spirited. Ryan Reynolds, Will Ferrell. I genuinely thought it was a great musical and great Christmas film. I wouldn't have guessed it, but yeah, I fully understand anyone who thinks oh, Ryan Reynolds is too overexposed. I wish I could feel that way, but I keep liking the movies he makes, so I can't say it. I'm
so
sorry.
accurate.
I'm so sorry, everyone. Yeah, that's my number 5.
My number 5 is The Menu. I was kind of surprised it cracked my top 5. Maybe it was because I didn't quite know what I was going into when I saw the film, and so that helped sort of bump it up a couple of notches. But again, I think it's a really smart film. There's a lot in there to like. Obviously Ray Fiennes, and Anya Taylor-Joy, but there's a lot of movies out there and projects out there, both TV and movie this year, that kind of shit on the elite. You've got The Menu. Glass Onion does a little bit of the same thing. The White Lotus is known for that in both seasons, of just absolutely butchering and going after money in any way, shape, or form. Not even hard-earned money. It's just going after people with money. I think it does it in a different way. It feels fresh, it feels new. So that's why I made my top 5.
Yeah, for this one I chose Everything Everywhere All at Once. I raved about this movie earlier in the year, and I still think it's a fantastic movie. It doesn't quite reach the 1 through 4 spots, but it's still a really good movie with a very original idea. And I think obviously it's based on Chinese generational differences and coming to the US, but I feel like I think I said this in the episode, it works for any of those generational divides. You see the same sort of things in The Sopranos. It's a very common problem, which is you don't quite have the same culture as your parents, and your parents don't have the same culture as their parents. And it turns that into some wild time traveling adventure that has a lot of heart to it. So easily breaks the top 5 for me.
Yeah, I remember from last year, Ben, that you take this way more seriously than the rest of us, is the vibe I got. And just when you said just now, it cracks my top 5, but it doesn't get to the 1 through 4 slots. I was like, that is so quintessential Ben for how he looks at this. It's perfect, never changed.
This is a serious thing, guys.
After the episode, we're all gonna chat about how long it took each one of us to pull together our lists of all of these films, and we're gonna post how long it took for every person.
Honestly, it took me 2 minutes to put this together. If I took a lot longer,
buddy.
It would probably take something. The less time it takes, the simpler it is. All right, I couldn't overdo it.
All right, buddy.
All right.
So now, and this is a byproduct of me going last, my top 5 has already been said as someone else's top 5, or number 5 rather. My number 5 is Spirited, just like Declan.
I was expecting it to be on yours as well.
Yeah, I was, and Max, I texted you about this the other day. I was going back and forth on whether I wanted The Menu or Spirited to be my number 5, and The Menu ended up being your number 5, which was ironic there. But Spirited is just, and I wrote this in my Letterboxd review, I would have said it if we did an episode on it. It's so defiantly fun. You can't help but just go along for the ride. I've seen it twice now. I think it works beyond Christmas. I'm going to probably watch it during the year next year, and not wait until December again to watch it. Especially because I have a free trial of Apple TV Plus right now, and I don't plan on having that start charging me every month. So I'll probably watch that again in the next 3 weeks. But it's just, I mean, Will Ferrell, he's one of my favorite actors of all time, one of my favorite comedic actors, comedians. I was a little concerned about his career after some of the recent movies he's done, but this one's an absolute winner. He, acts and sings his heart out in this one and dances, surprisingly. Ryan Reynolds is absolute box office. Octavia Spencer is great. It's it's super fun. So yeah, Spirited earns my number 5 for this year, and it's a little interesting because I rewatched our episode from last year, and Free Guy was my number 5 last year. So I've got Ryan Reynolds at number 5 2 years in a row. So let's see what he's doing next year, and that'll be my number 5 for.
We got to stop liking Ryan Reynolds movies so we can see.
You know what, Declan? We don't.
Yeah, that's true. Amen.
No.
Amen.
So now on to the next rung of the ladder. Number 4, Declan.
Number 4, I am going to go with Glass Onion. I think fantastic sequel. I think, as I said on rewatch, I still like the first one better just because I think the first cast is so perfect and all the characters there. But Glass Onion, still fantastic. Great to see Benoit Blanc again. Great, great mystery and sort of climax and all that. Yeah, fantastic.
Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to copy Declan on this one. I'm also gonna put Glass Onion at 4. A lot of the same reasons, but I also think, and I'm gonna try and navigate this carefully because I know Ben hasn't finished it yet, but both of them are based off of various games, and I think, George, your tweet is correct. I'd seen a video on it earlier, and I do agree with both of those takes. So I
Twitter's in the description, just so y'all can.
I think it is interesting. Like
Clue?
Yeah,
because that's what I got.
I'm very bad at dumb things.
The first one was Clue. The second one, I think George is right. And I think
is something else.
Is something else.
Sorry.
And stop guessing.
Life.
No, it's obviously Stratego.
Trivial Pursuit.
Yeah.
Categories.
Phase 10. No, but I just think it's interesting that is kind of like a sort of a very subtle framework of both of the films is games. And one of the lines that Benoit Blanc says in the very beginning of Glass Onion is, I hate games. So we'll see where the third one takes us. But I think it's a very worthy follow-up. And if I think it's really hard to call Knives Out better or worse than Glass Onion. I think they're different films, really original, great casts, and great concepts overall. So, number 4.
Well, surprisingly, though I have not finished it yet, I also.
Wait.
Oh no!
If George goes 4 for 4 and says Glass Onion as well, that is iconic.
George, what do you got over there?
Wait, are you actually? Glass Onion is actually?
No, I'm completely serious. I finished about 3/4 of it, and I've liked it. So I gotta put it on the list. I mean, I'm gonna like it after I finish it. So
fair.
I hope Ben ends up hate. I hope Ben ends up hating. I hope Ben ends up hating the rest of the movie.
I'm like, no, can I take that off the list?
I genuinely thought you were joking.
Ben, if you end up wanting to remove, and this is a stipulation I will make only for Ben because he's mostly through a movie he's including. If you end up disliking Glass Onion enough to take it out of your top 5 entirely, you can open the first episode of 2023 talking about why you made that choice.
That seems reasonable.
I think we can all agree on that.
I don't think I'll dislike it, but
what do you have left? Like 20 minutes, 25 minutes or something?
I have like 30 minutes left.
Okay. Not
Okay.
the last 30 minutes. So there's a reason
It's
why
so
I
funny.
said, oh no, when all three of you listed Glass Onion as your number 4.
It's a good place for it, you know?
It is a good place for it.
It's that I wasn't going to be joining you there.
Aw, George.
Boom, I got you, suckers. My number 4 is going to be Bullet Train.
Ooh.
Nice.
Action comedies are my jam. That's I don't really need to say anything else. But I will. Brad Pitt is a really good comedic actor. And I think Ladybug is the perfect role for him at this point in his career. He has a lot of fun with this. Aaron Taylor Johnson and Brian Tyree Henry maybe have more chemistry than any two actors in any movie this year. I said what I said. Um, Thomas the Tank Engine references. I mean, that was my childhood. I said that when we did the episode on Bullet Train
Talk
4
about
months
that.
ago. Just because Ben's being a diesel doesn't mean the rest of us have to. But yeah, Bullet Train. It's like Max said. It's star-studded, but it's not overcrowded. The action is great. The comedy is fantastic. To a certain point this year, this was going to be in my top 3. I reevaluated at the end of the year and it fell to 4, but that's not a knock against it. Bullet Train is number 4.
I have to say, I don't think I've seen anybody in a movie this year that has looked better than Bad Bunny, despite his untimely death and his backstory being longer than his actual life in the movie.
Yeah.
He looked damn good in that suit.
Yeah. Ben, I'm gonna get you a replica of that suit.
Ben, when is your
I
birthday?
would wear it.
Ben, when is your birthday?
September 24th. So
all right, so
So
we've
we
got
have
time to
time.
get Ben tickets to a Bad Bunny concert, and
I'm just gonna
Have him in
steal
the
it
suit.
from him.
make a sign, get him the suit, and
Just
just be
be your suit.
So on to our top 3s. Number 3, Declan.
I slightly annoyed. It's slight stealing my thunder. No, my number 3 is Bullet Train as well. I mean, not as well. My number 3 is Bullet Train. I think what made it go higher for me was how much I enjoyed it without expecting to enjoy it. Like I didn't have like low expectation, but it wasn't like, Bullet Train was like my most anticipated film or anything like that. So it just to find it to be like this comedic action train movie. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Tangerine, lemon, ladybug, all the characters, real good. I liked the saga with the White Death and his family. I liked how well everything clicked to get together. I dug it.
nice.
Cool.
My number 3 is Wakanda Forever. It cracks my top 5 very easily. It was always, I think it would.
Was that a drive-by? You taking a shot at me?
No.
It cracks my top 5 very easily, man.
No, but it was both the viewing experience and also because it was always my number 1 anticipated movie. I saw it in just this really fantastic theater in space that had a great sound system, and so you could really feel and hear the score that Ludwig Göransson pulled together. It was big. It was
outer space.
No, I was not talking about outer space, Declan. I didn't go to outer space to see Wakanda Forever. Interesting interjection there from Declan. I understood George's. Not sure I quite get yours. But yeah, I mean, I think it was done beautifully. It was a perfect tribute to Chadwick Boseman, and then it also ended up being a high quality film. And put those two things together, but especially the tributes and the way that they handled Chadwick Boseman's untimely passing and just honoring his legacy, the character's legacy. It was fantastic.
Number 3, I'm gonna go with The Northman. Everyone knew it was going to be somewhere on this list. 3 is a good spot for it. It's not his finest film, but it's a very good film because he hasn't made a bad film. Tough to explain quickly. I would just say if you're interested in another Eggers movie, go watch The Northman. If you like Vikings and stuff like that, it's
And
it's
fights by volcanoes.
and
I'll
lots
see where the wild things
naked
are.
fights by volcanoes. Yeah, it's good. Good film.
My number 3 is going to be The Batman. I really enjoyed it, and maybe it's just because it was so high on my list early in the year, and I haven't seen it since. It may fall, but I think Matt Reeves and what he did with Gotham City is that for the first time since Tim Burton's, Michael Keaton's Batman movies, Gotham City feels like a character again, even though it's literally just New York. Gotham Square Garden. So, I mean, Robert Pattinson is great. Zoe Kravitz is great. John Turturro. How can we forget Colin Farrell as the Penguin? Paul Dano. The list goes on and on. The Batman, it's long, worth it. Absolutely worth it.
It's long.
So, number 2, Declan.
My number 2, I want to just, with the caveat, my 1 and 2 are like neck and neck tied, but I'm putting so just bear that in mind. It's like millimeters apart, but still, my number 2 I'm going with, and I'm annoyed because you predicted this.
Minions: The Rise of Gru.
Yes, no.
No, we said that was his number 1.
My number 2 is RRR. You know, it's like I watched it on Netflix, and it is a great experience. You know, it's fantastic. It lives up to all the hype. You know, all the great things said by Patrick Willems and all Twitter and everyone. It's like actually that good. You know, it's like it's a remarkable action musical extravaganza. The one downside, the reason I put it 2 is because you have to like set out an entire morning to watch the entire thing. Not morning, entire afternoon and evening to watch the entire thing. Worth it, but still, you have to find the time for it. But still, RRR number 2.
All right. My number 2 is The Banshees of Inisherin. I thought it was a spectacular film. It's, you've got Colin Farrell and you've got Brendan Gleeson delivering fantastic performances together and bouncing off each other brilliantly. And just a really interesting story of friends falling out of friendship with one another in their respective timelines. Obviously, one is a little bit faster than the other, but eventually get there. And then at the end, well, you'll see. So yeah, unbelievable film. I think a clear front runner for Best Picture.
Agreed.
Number 2 for me is going to be Nope. I love that film. I think it's a great satire of Hollywood and also functions as a fun satire, sort of horror. It's Jordan Peele's always done these very self-referential and self-acknowledging horror films that sort of know what scenario they're in. And I think he does a good job with that while also sort of poking fun, but also poking critique at a lot of the real problems and a lot of the real atrocities from Hollywood. It's a clever thing. Everyone expects him to be the horror mastermind, but the true horror masterminds from that film is Hollywood.
And here I was thinking it was the friends we make along the way.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the friends you make, I guess.
Hey, true.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great film.
It's all of us.
I highly recommend anybody watch it.
Okay, just based on your recommendation, I'll watch it.
Oh.
I missed the episode, so I haven't really had a reason to watch it.
You should watch
I
it.
think you'd like it, actually.
I'm going to.
Yeah, I think you would.
My number 2 was my number 1 for a long time, and then over the last couple of months, it's sort of, I wouldn't say that it fell down, but it got passed by my number 1. My number 2 is going to be The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Mhm.
Like I said when I talked about Bullet Train, action comedies are my jam. This one is no exception. And when I said that no two actors had better chemistry than Brian Tyree Henry and Aaron Taylor Johnson, I lied, because Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal have better chemistry.
Mm.
This one, it's just, all the references to Nicolas Cage's movies, which he's got one of the most, diverse arrays of performances through his career, and the fact that they were able to work in so many references while also coming up with this original story. I think it played really well. The story was paced well. It's edited well acted, well thought out. I'm saying well too many times. But yeah, I mean, and it pulls the Tropic Thunder at the end by switching you into the actual movie that they're making. So that was a fun little movie making moment for me. Yeah, Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I really thought it was going to be my number 1, and then it got passed. So it's a little tease for a few minutes from now. It is that time, boys. Let's talk about our favorite movies of 2022 as we get towards the end of this episode. Declan, you've been going first all night. Tossing it over to you.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, 1 and 2 are near tied. I'm going to blow some minds in a second and just say, I will admit the caveat. It's been a while since I've seen the film, so maybe better, memorize it. Not memorize it. It's really like I need to watch it again, but still, I'm going to go with my number 1 being The Northman.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love, yeah. I was about to put in the film you thought I was going to put at number 1 as an honorable mention, but I was like, you don't know, and that's why I lost my train of thought back there. If you're wondering, I'm just going to go to my top.
You left it out of your honorable mentions just to trick us.
Yeah. No, it's like no. The Northman, fantastic historical epic. I love historical epics. I think it's great. Even though it was dark in spots, it was a cool depiction of Vikings and shit. No other film quite like it, at least to my knowledge. Yeah, enjoyed it a lot. I think, and also again, you don't have to set aside an entire evening and day to watch it, unlike RRR. So little points there, but still both great films. But Northman, I'm going to give it the slight edge, at least for now.
All right. Wasn't expecting that one, boys.
Yeah.
I have to say. Yeah, I think some of you probably will guess this one. George certainly did, but my number 1 is Everything Everywhere All at Once. It was a film that, yes, does specifically target and sort of focus on generational trauma within the Chinese and Chinese American community, but I don't, there's just so much there. Like everything that you watch in this film, you can unpack and sort of take a look at again. And again, it packs huge emotional punches, especially at the end of the film, but really throughout. I mean, you can get emotional over a couple of rocks, having a silent conversation for like 10 minutes. And it's like, holy shit, what is going on?
That's one of the best scenes of the year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But I loved it. I mean, from start to finish, I loved every minute. I had no idea what I was getting into when I saw it, but I love Michelle Yao. amazing film. It's my clear number one and has been, I think, since we reviewed it.
Well, for me, I think I've already said this we didn't do it that long ago, but Banshees of Inisherin, I think, is a unbelievable movie. I haven't seen a movie quite like this in probably a few years that really is such an original creation that takes a lot of inspiration from real history, and uses it so creatively, basically doing a film about a war while not even being on the same island, just showing it all from afar, and instead using a metaphor for it. It's very creative, and even past the war, I find that the issues that all the characters go with are very just existential and human, and that most people can probably relate to them. It's a very hard-hitting film, very depressing at times, but I think extraordinarily well shot, well acted, and well written. No notes, as
Oh.
I've said.
I thought it was going to be Amsterdam.
That's close. That's 1.5. Sneaking in there, just like
Neck
the
and neck.
90s.
Yeah.
So it's over to me now, right? Not that it hasn't been over to me
Yeah,
after
yeah.
Ben all night. My number one is Glass Onion.
Mm.
Murder mysteries as much as action comedies. I'm gonna say the phrase again. They're my jam. Daniel Craig is every bit, Benoit Blanc as he is James Bond at this point in his career. I think he has a lot of fun with these movies. I know Rian Johnson does. The supporting cast that they bring in for each of these movies is going to be, I wouldn't say that they'll have the chemistry that the first cast did, but in a vacuum, Glass Onion is right there with Knives Out, in my opinion. In terms of considering each film on its own. The story is great. The performances, Janelle Monáe, for someone who's had so many great performances already in her short career so far, this is easily in that, top echelon already. Ed Norton, love him in everything. It was sort of fun to see him do this because I've watched a lot of Ed Norton movies this year. So I was really excited to see what he could do with a character like Miles Braun. And again, I'm walking that line where I'm not trying to spoil the end for Ben. But yeah, I think Rian Johnson is one of the best directors working right now for directors who direct their own material, their own written material. And as someone who aspires to direct what I write, by the way, I'm in film school, had to get that in before the end of the year. This is, a masterclass in bringing something from phase 1 to phase 100 or whatever you want to call it, phase A to phase Z. Glass Onion, what I would call Glass Onion a Benoit Blanc mystery, and certainly not Glass Onion a Knives Out mystery. Ryan, I got your back on that one.
We all got your back.
It's y'all's fourth favorite movie of the year. It's my favorite movie of the year. Get over it. So those are our lists. That's our top fives. We got one more little portion of the episode here quickly as we wrap up. And you know what? Screw it. We're gonna go in reverse order for this one because I've been going last all night. Highest anticipated movie of 2023. I told you we'd be looking forward to next year.
Oh, that's right.
Hey, it's my turn first, man.
Right, you go first.
I've been waiting all night. You go next.
Sorry. You were
terrified.
It's like, it's me.
You look so terrified.
Ben is panicking. He gets an extra 30 seconds to figure out what he wants to say.
I forgot that this was part of the episode. So
my highest anticipated movie of the next year, going into the year, for the fourth consecutive year is an MCU film. Though no MCU films appeared in my top 5 this year, so I don't know.
Good for you, Josh.
Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Yeah.
It's the next like huge, or expected to be the next huge story mark in the greater MCU.
Mm-hmm.
The trailers look sick. I'm so excited for Jonathan Majors. It's
The
ridiculous.
poster is awesome.
The poster, they had no reason to go that hard for the poster.
Like, the poster's so sick.
It goes unnecessarily hard, but I'm gonna need to take one from a movie theater.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So that's my highest anticipated next year. Ben, what do you got?
You already know.
Yeah.
I did.
Dune Part 2. I don't need to see anything else. But it does have Elvis. All right,
It does have Elvis.
They're adding so many fucking people.
It has
Apparently,
Elvis, and it has the star of Don't Worry, Darling.
oh my gosh.
Harry Styles is in Dune Part 2.
Apparently, Austin Butler did the Elvis impression for so long that now he feels like his voice is lower than it used to be. Like he just talks the whole way down.
Hey,
So
how y'all doing?
funny.
Hey, I'm gonna be on the new Dune.
All right. Is it my it's my turn. There's a lot of great films coming out next year, as there were a lot of great films that came out this year. I mean, 2022 was chock full of some really great ones. 2023 looks to be the same. I'm going with Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. There are probably some that I think will be better films, but I have loved the Mission Impossible series for a long, 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 long time, and they've only gotten better ever since Ghost Protocol and Brad Bird took over. And the Christopher McQuarrie entries have been absolutely stunning, especially Fallout. I'm excited to see what he does to wrap up the last two films. This is part one of two.
Part 1.
Yeah, part one of two. So
Max,
we'll see where it goes.
You're hosting that episode.
I know I am. I already called dibs on that one. So, but it's a great cast. You got all the returning from the previous films, but then you add Haley Atwell, Vanessa Kirby's returning as the White Widow. You've got some great names in there. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Good stuff.
And my number one, worried a bit. I was like, what is going to be my top most anticipated film of 2023? And then I thought about it for exactly 1 second. And I was like, oh, right, of course. Because all great franchises have to have 6 seasons and a movie. That's right. It's the Community.
I knew it.
We don't even have a title. It's my number one. Everyone knew. Who knows? We would. Which I can't even pretend like I'm like darn it. It's like that was the most obvious thing ever. And I'm so excited to see these characters again. See what
he's talking about Community. Just so you guys know.
Community movie. You see what Dan Harmon cooks up. All of it. I'm number one.
Declan, I really expected you to say something else, and then I was going to remind you about that.
That would have been justified. I would if I had somehow forgotten that the Community movie was coming out this upcoming year, I would have immediately then changed it to like, oh wait, oh yeah, Community, holy shit,
What if it gets pushed to next year?
I'm scared something like that will happen, but still,
It doesn't even have a title yet.
Yeah, I don't even care, but still, Community.
So, thanks for hanging out for a little bit of an extended episode tonight. This is the longest one we've had in a little while. But I think it was worth it. You knew what you were getting into when you started watching this, and you saw what the TRT was. So, thanks for hanging out. Those are our top, worst, didn't get to, honorable mentions, and highest anticipated movies for 2022 and 2023 for the last part. We're going to see you in the new year. We're talking about Babylon next week. Damien Chazelle's new epic homage to early Hollywood and the transition to talkies. So
homage to large, huge budgeted films that have. I'm making a joke about itself. I'm excited. Yeah, sorry.
so we will see you in 2023. Happy New Year, everyone. Enjoy your New Year's celebrations. We'll see you next week for Babylon. Have a good night. Happy New Year.
Good night.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.